I wish I had actually known some of these key points about investing in stocks and crypto when I was younger. So the purpose of this video is really to give you a beginner's guide to investing in stocks and cryptocurrencies for this day and age, 2021 and beyond. So with that being said, just to introduce myself guys, I'm Jay Campbell. Welcome to Maximise Your Money. In this channel we talk how to make, manage and multiply your money from a UK perspective. So if you like making and multiplying your money, then go ahead, hit the subscribe button, like the video if you found this valuable. And with that being said, let's get right into it. So the very first thing just to mention here is that when you're beginning with investing, of course, the entire landscape of investing, whether you're looking at the stock market or you're looking at an actual stock itself, maybe Amazon, whether that be a big fund that you're looking at with lots of different stocks all in it together, it can be very confusing, and especially when you get into cryptocurrencies where there's lots of new terminology like blockchain, for example, and all of the different coins that you see popping up. So it's really key, first and foremost, that we take a very educational based approach to what we're doing and always look to understand things first before investing in anything. So that is the very first thing that I want to say. Before you invest, you've worked really hard for your money, so just make sure that you're not just throwing it away, buying into something just because somebody's told you that something's going to go up. Actually, that person does not know, because if we could guarantee that what we were going to invest in would just go up like overnight, for example, then most people would be millionaires. But the truth of it is that with the stock market, nobody knows what's going to happen. Even with cryptocurrencies, we can only just make educated and informed guesses at the end of the day. So that's a very big point. Just to mention, none of this is financial advice. This is just everything I've learned from my experience investing for actually about 1.5 years now. Before actually investing, a really good thing to make sure that you have in place for yourself ideally is some sort of emergency fund. And an emergency fund is just a simple way to say a basket of savings that you have to cover for any emergencies, contingencies, or let's say worst case scenario, you lose your main source of income, for example, you would have, let's say 6 to 12 and why not even 18 months worth of expenses to cover you, and not just cover you in the case that you're not working, but maybe there's some like major expense that comes up in your life that you have to deal with, maybe medical or some kind of family emergency or something like that. Having that extra cash on the sidelines is going to be really helpful for you, because when it comes time to actually, those situations, if you've invested all of your money and you don't have any spare savings to kind of draw on, then if the markets suddenly crash and let's say the price of your investment goes down, because investments go up and down in their value. If the investments go down in their value considerably when you need to access spare funds, it's a really awkward situation to be in. So big point just to mention, try get an emergency fund to cover you, and that way you can at least invest with peace of mind knowing worst case scenario you've actually got cash as a backup. Now when you have your emergency fund, what you want to do in the perfect world is to actually look at what your investing goals are. So it's always good to have a goal in mind when you're investing. That way you can make a plan. Let's say your goal is to invest for the purpose of saving for retirement, or maybe it's just to buy a house or have a deposit for a house, or whatever the situation is. Have that goal and now you can set a plan. There are lots of different types of investments you can go for. So for example, with funds, you might just want to get like an index fund like the S&P 500. And by doing that, you are basically going in and going for a more safer type of investment where you'll potentially see steady growth over a long period of time. On the other hand, if you're investing in a cryptocurrency like Ethereum or Cardano or VeChain, for example, these cryptocurrencies can go up and down in price very quickly in a matter of hours. So you've got to understand the different types of risks that are associated with your investment typically. And when you have that understanding, you then want to be able to allocate your funds, so the money that you have left over at the end of every single month, or profits that you get, or additional cash flow that you have, you can allocate that amount of money into, let's say, 50% stocks and 50% crypto, for example. And of course, there are different asset classes, but we're just going to focus on these two in this video. And why you want to do that is that it's going to help with something called dollar cost averaging. Now, the percentage of your actual spare investment funds each month that you want to put into stocks versus crypto is going to be up to you. If you're somebody that's more conservative and you want that long-term growth that's very steady, then maybe picking stocks and funds in particular, which is a basket of stocks to reduce risk, is a better approach. And you might want to have like 80% funds versus 20% of cryptocurrency, which go up really fast in price typically, depending on what you're investing in, but equally can go down just as fast. And I've just done a video on that as well. So if you want to see what I mean about the really fast changing price in cryptocurrency, then do check that out up here. Otherwise though, once you have that amount, you want a dollar cost average. And dollar cost averaging is a really great way to invest on a consistent basis. So rather than you buying at the peak of the market price, let's say for Bitcoin, you were to buy at £40,000, and if you put all your money in at that point, let's say £40,000 into just buying one Bitcoin, then literally you could go back a week later and the price of that Bitcoin could now have gone down to £25,000 for one Bitcoin. So you could have potentially paid £15,000 extra than what you would have. Now, when you dollar cost average, rather than just paying at the peak price, you would just allocate a small amount of money into the asset, like Bitcoin, for example, on a monthly basis. And that way you're going to get a fair average price. It's really hard to time the market. You have guys that do something called technical analysis, where they study the patterns of charts and the chart behavior to try and predict what's going to happen in the future. But even that is very difficult. So by dollar cost averaging, you're taking out the emotion of trying to buy at the bottom of the market and instead just having a fair price. That way, over the long term, with your average buy-in, you can just take advantage of the steady growth of your investments. So that is a very, very key point just to mention there. Now, with that being said, the last point that I just want to make with stocks and crypto is that you want to understand your time horizon for investing. And what I mean by that is if you're allocating capital to a stock fund, for example, or a certain cryptocurrency, you want to understand what is your time frame for being in that investment. Maybe you want to hold on to your long-term funds for 20 years to get that long, nice compound growth. Or maybe on the other hand, you just want to hold a cryptocurrency for 6 months because you believe that within that 6 months period that it's going to really skyrocket in price and you're going to just lock in those gains and be happy with some short-term profits. So that's me for Ultimate Beginner's Guide to Investing in Stocks and Cryptocurrencies. Guys, if you like the video, do go ahead, give me a thumbs up below. If there's anything that I've missed here that you think is key for investing as a beginner, then do let me know in the comments. I've got a few other useful videos about investing as a beginner that you might find helpful by watching them up here. Otherwise than that, guys, subscribe to the channel if you are new here, and I will see you in the next one. Have a nice day.